Well, Keith, this is a conversation that's been a long time in coming. We've known each other for 10 years and have worked together. And one of the things that we talk a lot about is the importance of leadership and its impact on law firms, and in particular, Morris James. For everybody there, let me introduce, this is Keith Donovan. Keith Donovan has been a partner in the personal injury group at Morris James, and then eventually became a part of their executive committee. And eventually recognizing his commitment, his dedication, his professionalism, it was clear that he was the next person up to step into the managing partner role for Morris James. Morris James, you can tell us a little bit about the firm and the makeup and the size of it, but it is a multi-practice area firm that covers the entire state of Delaware. And Keith, what would you add to that as your journey toward being, an insurance defense attorney, being moved over to join Morris James as a personal injury attorney, being an associate, a partner, executive committee, and now you're managing partner of a firm you were not a founder of?
So first of all, Glenn, thank you very much for having me. That is a very loaded question with a lot in it. So let me give it a shot. So yes, first of all, I started out my career as an insurance defense litigator, and I did that for about 10 years before joining Morris James. Now, Morris James itself is a full service firm that serves the entire state of Delaware. We have 65 attorneys. We have 6 offices up and down the state. And we have a mix of practices that include both national-based practices like corporate and commercial litigation, intellectual property litigation, bankruptcy, and financial deals or business transactions. But we also have localized practices like personal injury, the group in which I am a partner, tax, wills and estates, family law, real estate. We really run the gamut of being a full service firm. So when I joined Morris James, it was 2002. And, my journey, the snapshot view of my journey where I am now is I spent about 7 years starting my part of the practice in the personal injury group, learning about the firm, understanding the management structure. And about 7 years in 2009, I was elected to the executive committee. There I really learned the back of the health work that gets done at the leadership level at the firm. Of course, I knew what was going on before, but that was my first step into the real, insides of what we do at the firm. And I served there for 9 years. And in 2018, I was given the opportunity and elected to become managing partner. And it's 5 years of that in the rearview mirror. I'm in my 6th year right now. So that is a very quick snapshot of how and when I got here.
Are there any principles that you have in place that you would offer up to other senior leaders or managing partners or leaders in law firms that are trying to take their firm from one level to a new level?
So yes, I think that for me, it sounds simplistic, but it's honest to who I am. I'm a people first leader. I recognized very early in my life, very early in my legal career, and I took that into the managing partner role, that the only way things get done is if the people around you are all on board with the vision, the project, the objective, however you want to describe that. And that means something different, I think, to lawyers in particular. When you think about it, most of what we do is we write things down and then we hand it into somebody else. And we tell somebody through a written word that we should win or why we should win or what the precedent is. To me, though, and I would joke with people because I was that kid that grew up playing sports. You've probably heard me say this to you, Glenn, that on paper, I won every game I ever played. And so that was the dynamic that was going through my mind, that of course you can write down a plan. If you think about it and articulate it and you look at it and say, that will actually work. But the devil is in getting all the people around you to do the things that they need to do at the same time. So my philosophy was then, is now people first. I have a simple approach to every human being and more ashamed. I look at everybody as a professional. It doesn't matter to me what his or her job is or how long they've been there. They're a necessary professional. If they weren't a necessary professional, they wouldn't be there. So I look at the whole firm. If you can envision that, wrap my arms around it and say, okay, how can I affect how all of these professionals look at what our next step is going to be? And what I will tell you, a people first philosophy that I just articulated, I'm not sure that that's unique. Probably a lot of people would say that, but I get asked a lot, how much time does it take to do your job? Or is it a hard job? And I say in response to that, that it doesn't take any time at all if you want to do it poorly. But if you want to do it well, it takes the time it takes. And so I work very hard to get to know people, to understand their strengths, their weaknesses, to try to make sure that we're all pointed in the same direction and that all the people know that I genuinely care about who they are and where they are within the firm. And one other thing, Glenn, I'll tell you that I didn't really know I had the philosophy until I started looking into it. When I became managing partner, a couple of local news reporters in the law arena called me up and asked me about my philosophy. And I was explaining what my philosophy was, whatever that means. But I realized that I had a real affinity toward what is a John Wooden theory of leadership. And that is to treat everyone fairly, but not the same. People bristle at that. And again, in the legal world, everybody likes black and white. We all show up at 8 o'clock in the morning. We all take a 1 hour lunch, or whatever the case may be.
When did you first suspect that others looked to you for leadership and that was an environment that you flourished in, that you felt most comfortable engaging?
That's an interesting question because for me, I don't think I realized what was going on, but as a younger kid coming through a variety of sports, whether it was Little League baseball or, moving on to, middle school, high school sports, especially when I was younger, I would have coaches reach out to me to ask for help on the team. Now, as a 11 or 12-year-old kid, you don't really know what's going on, why the coach is asking questions about the baseball lineup or who should be in what position or how to handle a particular person or player. So at the time, I just gave my input without any idea of what was going on. But over the years, as I got a little bit older into the high school time frame, serving as captain of team, having coaches interact with me on a more regular basis, I realized that I liked leadership. I had some aptitude for it, but having aptitude for it was not something that I thought as much as something I began to recognize through other coaches and leaders drawing me into their world. So that's how it developed for me before I got into the professional.
I want to just highlight the way the culture was being interpreted. We could talk about culture, but there's also how we interpret it, how we employ it and utilize it as a tool or as a weapon sometime. So I'm fascinated by that, but go further.
Yeah, 100%. So the reason I said it that way, before I even became managing partner, I was at a partners meeting where I had to address the partners and tell them what I thought I could do or what I had to contribute and field questions from partners. And I was confronted with this very issue of culture, of we're a collegial firm, we care about each other. And, a lot of attributes that I think are wonderful, that I care a lot about. But what I recognized about our partners is our partners viewed the concept of culture and financial success as mutually exclusive propositions. And so the first dialogue that I had, even before being elected as managing partner, is in my view, these things are not mutually exclusive. We can maintain our culture, and not only maintain it, we can improve it. And at the same time, we can improve the financial success of the firm and the profitability for the partners. Those things are not at odds with each other. And we don't have to apologize for saying it out loud. And that last piece, I think what I felt, and we had certain partners that felt like if we talked too much about financial success, it meant that we were saying in some way that we cared less about the people, or we were going to lose something about our culture. And I just did not believe that.